saying, we've actually met some people who are woke.
Of course.
So like Greta,
Is she really coming back?
she's thinking about it. I don't know if she will, but she's thinking about it. And then I've got some other people too we're talking to. Okay.
Yeah. Who are they?
Well, there's this girl named Butterfly.
Oh yeah, butterfly.
Yeah.
Butterfly.
You left $10,000 in paradise in her car,
Right.
and then
She's thinking about it. She's thinking about it. Oh, I
She's
found
pretty
it.
cool. She's pretty cool.
She's working on herself, just like we all are.
Yeah. She's kind of young.
She is young.
Yeah.
That's why I'm.
I think
She's
we've got
pretty
to-
woke for her age.
I think that's another thing. I think
feel like-
people. I think young people can be even woker than we are, and I think we, through generational. I think because
In some ways.
no, I think I hope in every way. I hope just
Do
through.
you feel like experience though counts for something?
I don't think so. Not when it. I think the less education, the less programming that we have, the better and more woke you can be. I think.
Well, that's programming. Did you feel like that gets in the way of? You feel like it gets in the way of their intuition,
I think.
or the still small voice?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think young people, hopefully with the way things are going and evolution generally, I think people will be more open to awareness and consciousness and be more, there'll just be all of that, hopefully, without all that programming and or being able to deal with it easier because there's more education. They can watch the teal swans, they can watch,
Right.
listen to things on cue and figure out things much faster than we ever could when we were watching one channel and didn't have any information apart from the paper that came in.
You're just looking at YouTube alone. We should start to wrap up.
But for me, it all comes down to don't validate the negative social narrative. Don't validate
I'm
the
with you
programming.
on that, man, I'm with you on that.
And the age thing is a big one because age programming is so in there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Age is so important. Where you are is so important, and only this age can kind of.
I want my kids to be more awoke than me. I think they will be. Ultimately, I think evolution is going to go that way, and I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to learn from them. Ultimately, I hope.
And thinking about there's something that's been on my head the whole time, my head, my heart, is like thinking about the way that, these relationships are changing, that I think marriage is becoming a lot less popular in bits and bits every year. And people are using alternative structures. And a pagan wedding is just one of those. And some people are doing common law things where it's just different. I know people, like I said, people are in open situations. Although I think one of the reasons that they got married was because the government of the United States of America would not let her stay in America for more than 6 months out of a 12-month period.
Again,
So
that's
they
another
made it.
reward, right? It's like taxes. You get a reward for getting married.
It's a
and-
reward.
Yeah.
It's a reward.
It's a reward for validating the system.
Validating
The system of fear needs constant validation
But they made that decision.
because they validate the fear. That's what most people do in their lives is they validate the fear.
I think they made that decision because it's not really what I wanted to delve super deep into, but I think they made that decision because they didn't want the State Department to go after her.
Oh yeah, there's all these rules and punishments and so forth.
That wasn't a situation they created. That was just a situation that was there. So they decided. I think.
Society created it.
Yeah.
I guess.
So I think they decided.
If it's a true love marriage, then
I think it is.
then it goes against a true love marriage. There's no legal precedent or proceedings that need to take place outside of.
Just a pagan marriage. That's all you need.
Yeah, no, but they're trying to convince us that that's not true, and that we have all these borders and rules
Keep
and.
the structures that be.
Yeah, and then they have to validate and verify marriage, like it's a sacred thing, even though it's like the biggest fear-based, trauma-based container in existence is just the institution of marriage. It contains a lot of religious credo. It contains a ton of fear and trauma. It contains justification for how we raise our children, which, if you look in most places, is a disaster.
It goes into fairy tales and Disney movies. I mean, it's all there. It's all like we have to live this way, and if we don't live that way, the expectations are most of them are unreachable.
Well, this is the perfect segue. Do you feel that the sexual revolution of the 20th century, like having like affordable birth control for really the first time, do you feel that like a reliable, let's say reliable birth control for the first time, do you feel that because I feel that totally changed human relationships forever, to be able to decide when you reproduce is this watershed moment, and it allows, I think it allows people to have more than one partner and not worry about the necessary.
I think monogamy, that's a whole other thing. I mean, I don't think it's natural for us to be. I don't think it ever was. I think it's been drummed into us by, again, religion and fear and laws. And
I agree.
And I think ultimately we're programmed to procreate with several women as much as we can just to keep going. I mean, that's our DNA, in our DNA, ultimately. But it's like, if you can have a romantic relationship with more than one person, I think it would be healthy, and it wasn't frowned upon, which it is. I think,
which is crazy.
as long as everyone's honest with each other,
right?
And I think
which is where the ethical
key
part comes in.
Yeah, I think it's key just to be honest, and even if it's a woman wants several partners.
And the reason so many people are against
I have
it.
a friend who's coming here. She has 3 partners.
Oh, nice.
And they will know about it, and
they all know about each other. And what's funny is they're all exclusive to her.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
That's cool.
She sounds awesome. Does she want a 4th?
I don't know.
Can you tell her about me?
It's a non-sexual thing.
Well, she wants to visit the island.
Cuddles.
What's her name?
I'll tell you off the air. I'll tell you off the air.
Off the air?
Yeah.
Is her name Anna?
Anna.
Or Anne?
Come
Anna?
for me, girl. Go with him.
It's not.
So why 2? Why do you feel like 2 is your magic number?
You could go more. Yeah, I'm gonna do 5.
Okay, all right.
I'm saying don't do 1.
Don't do 1. I'm behind that, man.
Be humble. I'm saying be humble.
Behind that.
I'm saying
I am supportive.
doing 1 is arrogant. And it's limited.
It's on me.
It means you're controlled by a fear-based narrative.
You think like by default, you feel that's true.
By default.
Because
you're subscribing to a system which says that you're binding yourself in a very intimate way with one other person and no other people. That is insane.
Is that because you feel like it puts limits on love or something else?
It adds punishment to something that doesn't need to be any punishment involved in.
Right.
The evolution of each one of us, our own story. We get to evolve in every way that we wish we know we would involve in. We answer to nobody in that. And when it comes to who we love, you answer to no one, and you don't get punished for it either.
Yeah.
And if you're with someone who needs agreements and security.
Change your mind. There should be punishments.
Yeah, you can change your mind tomorrow. It's called being a human being. It's called, there's no rule book.
Yeah.
Your heart is the rule book.
Well, that's the nice thing. When I started researching open relationships and ethical non-monogamy, like 5 or 6, or it was like maybe 7 years ago, one of the things I loved about it was that each of your partners, like, you're constantly re-choosing the person every time. Like, there's no assumption that this person's going to fulfill all my needs, and they have got this certain amount of pressure on them. It's you spend time together because you're re-choosing each other each time you spend time together.
That's so sexy.
Yeah, you got to grow together too, and give each other space to grow.
Well, yeah,
separately.
But the constant re-choosing is so inspiring to me, and then it leads to that real conscious growing together of letting this thing. Because I believe that when any 2 people hang out, or any 3 people hang out, like the connection wants to become something. Like there is a flow that it wants to flow to. And I think our job is to let that be open so it can flow to where it wants to flow to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everyone, but I think 1-to-1, when it comes to that kind of intimacy, that kind of portion of your life that takes up and all the time, it's like giving it all to one person. What does that say about our belief system? Because we all walk around saying, "Oh, we're one."
That's a good point.
It's like no. It's like we think we're very divided. We're so fragmented. I'm going to pick one other fragment, and they're going to be my fragment, and I'm going to be their fragment. That is the most unhealthy mindset I've ever come across.
Ownership comes back to ownership.
Ownership,
Right,
possessiveness, responsibility, shame, embarrassment. If you act different, you become a failure.
So what's the antidote? Like, should people read? They should read The Ethical Slut, even if you don't want to be non-monogamous. It's amazing. And also Sex at Dawn. 2 PhDs wrote it, and it's about how human beings were totally non-monogamous until basically the agricultural revolution, where property was invented.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
It makes sense. We do because the whole system.
You want to own the house. You want to own the wife.
You want to know whose kids those are because you want to know which kids need to work on your farm. Was a big thing too.
Right, there's a whole thing set up over possessiveness, and even today, it's like
Which is
it's like
fear-based.
But even the way we talk about it, my boyfriend, my girlfriend.
I never liked that too. Even when I was a kid, I was like, why is it yours? This person is their own.
And people who are non-woke, they act like that too.
Yeah.
Like they'll be together and they're only with each other. You know what I'm saying?
And they'll beat people up for even talking to somebody else. Which
Right. Oh yeah, someone else in an affair is just a huge insult.
Yeah.
You know. It's
So
like,
is the antidote like research? Is the antidote like obviously the antidote is like more community?
the ear and
Like, what if someone's living in I'm so sorry, like Detroit, and like is it like looking groups up online to see if there's like a meetup group where people talk about community or
I think the only antidote is on a personal level. Just don't propagate the pattern yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know what? And don't ever talk about life or anything as if you need to explain yourself or that you need to
apologize for anything.
Apologize, yeah, for thinking different than just because it's quote unquote mainstream. Just because most people are
you don't have to follow that. Also, I'm so sorry, Detroit. I meant to say Flint, Michigan, because they still don't have good water. But that's a joke that didn't land.
Oh, Flint, Michigan.
I meant to say. I didn't mean to say Detroit. I'm not editing this. I meant to say Flint.
I thought the Tesla guy gave Flint, Michigan all the clean water.
I thought he was just putting him in a rocket.
No, I think he's.
Somewhere else now.
I think he spent some money and just made sure that there's clean water there.
I threw you off your topic. I'm sorry. You saying that you be the change you wish to see in the world is what I'm hearing from you. Don't let other people's limiting beliefs define what you're allowed to believe, and especially in relationships, which is a massive part of our lives.
And understand that they're coming from that background. They are so unconscious. If
they haven't even chosen it.
If they're defending that type of, they might come up with some good defenses. Like what they'll say is like, oh, look at this couple or that couple or whatever.
I remember what Muji was saying today. He was saying about relationships and how if it's supposed to be, it'll be. It's like you're in that presence, and if you're in love with yourself and comfortable within yourself and you're not looking.
It's got to start there.
That's where you got to start. You got to... that'll bleed into finding someone when you're not looking, when you're just being yourself and not expecting something or putting limitations and boundaries on relationships. If you're just open to receiving, then that's when you'll truly find someone that you might be compatible with.
Whoa.
I think.
That's
what he said ultimately.
I agree with it.
So let's say that you like somebody. How do you... Because that's something that's been kind of challenging for me. Yeah, just being a
friend, I think. I think ultimately getting into a relationship with anyone should maybe start with being a friend and seeing how it goes.
I absolutely agree with that. I guess the question for me, because, and it's much more common here, but because I'm new-ish to being ethically non-monogamous, I was for a bit in Wisconsin, and then I moved here, and then I was like, I don't know. I was working on other stuff, and then I was dating somebody who didn't want to be, and that's another story. But
yeah, I'm terribly shy, like super shy, and I don't generally go up to women and talk. But unless I'm completely comfortable and I just know that I'm just gonna be a friend, and if I approach them and talk to them as a friend, then if they reject me as just want to be a friend, then it's not worth even being
right there.
Right. No, absolutely.
That happens quite often, actually.
To you?
To me, yeah. not quite often, but it does happen where they just the friendship is rejected, which I can never understand.
Yeah, that kind of happened to me.
I just
But
write
we
it
can
off.
have
I
it
just
all.
write it off to
We had this wonderful
ignorance.
nerdy conversation. Interstellar came up. I don't know if we're ever going to talk again. I was like, hey, you want to go hike this thing? And I'm just like, we had a really nice conversation. It'd be nice to talk to you again. And she basically in text was like, oh, I'll see you at the jazz club. I was like, okay.
Yeah, not a friend. Yeah, no, you won't see me at the jazz club. And also, who's my number?
Well, the weird, confusing thing about it was she basically like grabbed my phone and put her number in my phone. So talk about big signals.
Trauma from a narrative that's got everyone fucked up. You buy into it. You buy into your own trauma. So when your own trauma,
You could say that about everyone's behavior.
I think it's okay if they don't want to be involved. It's their choice, right? If they don't want to be,
It's
it's
okay.
like
Save me the time.
you
I'm not
feel
pushing
hurt
a rope.
by it. I think it's more.
No, I think it's
saving
refreshing.
grace.
I'm not
it's
going to
refreshing.
push a rope.
oh no, when I say I don't mind, I like it when they're. It's just that what I run into people who aren't willing to have that conversation. It's like before you have the conversation, it just goes silent. I think a lot of
Conversation about friendship.
but yeah, about where your relationship's going, what's going on. You say you hit your first pothole in the road. You know each other. You're kind of acquaintances, becoming friends. You hit your first pothole in the road, whatever that is, from someone's perspective. And for a couple women I've stumbled on, it's been how do we turn this into a big trauma thing? How do I become a victim in this thing?
Is it possible that something is triggering past trauma, and maybe that's an opportunity for them to work through that and heal it?
Well, yeah, that's how I look at it. That's why I'm like, you're welcome, even after. You know.
They have to be aware of that before they can heal, right?
Right.
Otherwise, they're not gonna. You can't change someone's perception or mind.
And I know a lot of it. The humbling part is to realize how little you can do in the face of trauma.
How little you can do in the face of trauma.
Because trauma is just a pseudonym. It's just a pseudonym for ignorance. That's all it is. All trauma is in my view.
Thinking it's reality.
If you've been like raped or something, you can't tell somebody that's because they're ignorant.
Yeah, but no. The ignorance in that part is projecting that onto them. You've taken a trauma.
Someone else.
Yeah, because something bad happened to you. You're cutting yourself off and another person off. It's understandable, but it's not really. You probably want to get past. You probably want to get past that point.
Productive.
Yeah.
I think someone that's aware, like Hope Johnson, when she talks, I think she went through a troubling childhood, and I think that her perception is it's not real. It's her perception of what happened, and all she does is laugh all the time. She doesn't take it seriously, and I think that's ultimately it's part of her life that happened, but she doesn't have to keep living it. I mean, she wants to live in the moment, and I think that reliving it is worse for you than letting it flow out. Like, move on. Not move on. I hate to say move on, but yeah.
But no, hey, moving on is what we want to do at some point, right? Of like, go to a different place, look at life from a different perspective. We would only be in the same perspective the whole time. I mean, that's why you took the mushrooms.
Yeah,
it seems
it gave me it did. It gave me a new perspective on my relationships and of myself as well.
I'm saying geographically.
I can make such a long list of people that I wish would take 5 grams of mushrooms.
Me too.
Tomorrow.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Almost my entire family.
My mom would probably die, but or maybe would totally heal her. I don't know.
And that's the thing. I think mushrooms let you know what you need to work on, and it won't be pleasant for a lot of people. Majority of people, it won't be, and it wasn't for me.
Super unpleasant because you're butting heads against the entire lifetime you've lived of bogus programming that you don't.
I'm sure the mushrooms remind you that this is not serious. I don't know if it was Sadhguru or someone who's talking about how the whole implicit agreement when you're born, when you're incarnated, is okay to play this game. You got to behave like it's serious.
Yeah.
Is like the trick.
Living a human experience,
right?
yeah.
It's like a trick.
That's a great way to put it. That's why
Got to take it serious. Because why do
can't-
anything if you're not treating it serious?
if you're at all enlightened, you take nothing seriously.
Right, exactly. Then you run into somebody like Sadhguru who's like laughing and being silly, or you'll run into somebody like,
He's not triggered by anybody because nothing triggers him.
or even Osho, who's got his own thing, but like
He was a cult leader.
he was absolutely a cult leader. He was absolutely a cult leader. There's a great documentary called Wild Wild Country.
He was good at it. He should have been a cult leader.
but
I guess that was his destiny.
They should have just left him alone, do what he wanted to do. What?
he was also talking about how the illusory nature of all this. Like a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
people
So fun.
who are become channels like that. Didn't Yogananda talk about that too? Like the
A few of them have that we've listened to, like the whole illusion thing and how people are abusing that reality of thinking everything's an illusion, so justifying being an asshole or doing something
Right.
bad, just saying it's an illusion, so why should I have to do it? Anything, I should do exactly what I want when I want.
So what's your response to that thought?
Everything is an illusion. Everything's
so I can be an asshole. What do you say to someone like that?
Well, I think if someone is truly compassionate and treats everyone like they would themselves, then there wouldn't be any need for policing or judgment or
Real empathy.
Yeah, if people were really woken up.
So you're almost making a utilitarian argument in a way of like, well, the world would work better.
Without any rules whatsoever. I think
With the-
if everyone was aware,
Right.
aware of being one with each other and
Yeah.
treat you like I
Just
would
imagine
myself.
a planet like that. If we discovered a planet or a
Well, there
society,
would be a
like,
government, and that's what they
Right.
are scared about.
There could be no power because the more you get away from what we're talking about, the more you need power in order to validate your misery.
well,
So there wouldn't be borders, there wouldn't be presidents, there wouldn't be governments. There would be self-governing utopia because
if
we're
people were totally aware.
totally aware that you are part of me,
Yeah.
and I'm going to treat
So
you the way I
what
treat
you're
myself.
describing is what one book series calls a social memory complex.
Okay.
And it's when when a society graduates beyond like normal physicality at some point.
Or social conditioning, ultimately.
Well, yeah, they graduate beyond that. Literally, this is pretty esoteric, but you're reminding me of this, and then we can close it up. You're reminding me of this. Literally, they get to a point where it's impossible to keep secrets. Like everyone's minds are but like it's physically impossible. Everyone's minds are linked because they're all like. So what happens is the entire society is totally different, and what happens is what you're describing, Rory. Like you don't need a government because people already feel everybody else's emotions, so people just
Or they have
Make what
compassion
they
for
want.
other people's emotions, so that
pretty much by default.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they might not know it, but
Social memory complex.
they'll have compassion for no matter because
Make it to that.
And the only reason to ever have a secret is guilt, right?
to lie, to lie or have a secret or any of that is because of
Fear.
fear and guilt. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
shame as well, maybe. When
Well, I
you're
hope
shamed as
that-
a kid,
I-
you relive that
I
and
hope
tell
that
lies.
We live in a society at some point where I can put the real names of everybody in the book. Maybe someday we'll live in a society that can accept that.
We should
think
create
we
that. We do live it, and we should create it more. That's why we're doing the marriages. Part of why we're getting married to a group of people is we'll have this collective understanding, and it will let us live life differently, and actually be fully realized human beings. Because I think to fully realize each other, we need a family of conscious-minded individuals.
It's almost like having the community of soul brothers and sisters where you're all connected through awareness and compassion and love, ultimately. Where love has no boundary, there's no expectation, there's no, you've got to do this, else I'm not going to love you. It's limitless, no matter what you do.
It's complete trust and support.
Here's a question. So let's say you pagan marry like 5 women,
Okay.
right? Or maybe just 2. What do you call them? Because you said you didn't like the phrase "my wife."
Whatever their name is, whatever they choose,
You just do name.
choose to be named. Yeah,
You just do name. Okay.
You know what? This is gonna be weird, but I also I call them sisters.
I could see that.
Wives? I don't know. Why? My wife?
no,
My
I think
wives?
You
I don't
didn't
know.
like the "my" earlier when you talked about it.
Yeah, the my.
my ownership. it would be more, yeah. Oh,
But does she
Greta.
feel like? Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
G bird.
I like
Whatever she wants to be
I like
called.
names.
Yeah, whatever she wants.
I like names, but I do like labels sometimes.
Labels are fun.
If it's
For comedy, they're good.
Well,
Well,
The grand
label
comedy.
everything, ultimately, right? Like you
Yeah.
said earlier, we have labels for every single thing.
Every word.
if it's like if it's a loving thing, if it's a word that promotes closeness, I think it could be a good thing.
Yeah.
Like I like in certain conversations, I'll call someone my dear,
Oh, yeah, I love that.
and I think that can be really. I think that can cultivate love. in the
Affectionate
relationship.
terms of endearment.
Yeah.
People
so,
are so uptight about it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's one girl on this island. I asked her. She agreed for a little while, and she had a boyfriend. She's got a boyfriend.
She agreed
And
what?
I asked her, "Can I call you like honey or sugar pie?" And she was kind of into it. And then she got really kind of nervous, and it wasn't okay. It was like awkward all of a sudden. And,
After how much time?
After her brain thought about her boyfriend, maybe.
After her talk for her boyfriend.
I think I saw the next time and I tried it out to see if it was real. And I think she immediately got kind of like antsy, awkward about it. And it's like one of the few people I know who's actually in a relationship. And I just look at it and I'm like, it's like you guys are the aliens. And like I'm not blaming them, but
Because they're in
I
a monogamous relationship.
I would never put myself in that position. I think it's this is going to sound really judgmental.
You're kind of
but
judgmental, but it's okay.
It is because I'm judgmental because I think we live in a world of fear and trauma where fear and trauma dictate everything, and
lot of things.
I'm judgmental. And the only thing I fear, if I have a fear, the only thing I fear is fear itself.
Okay.
The only thing I judge is my perception of the judgment of others.
You're a very recursive person.
What's recursive mean?
It's like a circle. The thing's causing itself. It's like if you look up the definition of recursion causes recursion. I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't know.
But it's like you're saying fear. Your only fear is you're afraid that your fear is to have fear, which is kind of like circular. But I see that. I see where you're coming from. I see that. But but they're the weirdos because they're in a monogamous relationship, and you feel that that's fear based.
I can see that it's fear based
because there's.
I can see the discomfort.
I'm feeling really good about being ethically non-monogamous now.
I would feel terrific
very
about it.
vindicating.
If you weren't, I'd be like, dude, you might want to
wake up, bro.
And it's so funny is that you can't even talk about this to most people.
You might be
Like,
surprised.
I might be.
Down
I
here,
might not.
People are pretty.
Well, put
about
this out there. We'll see how many people can listen to it and what kind of feedback we get.
I'm so stoked. Probably gonna break it up into 2 parts because it's pretty long.
It's pretty long.
Hour piece.
Should we end it? Let's end it at a favorable. So it's 240.
Favorable. Auspicious number?
Yeah, what would be a auspicious number? It's 240.
244? No. 240?
248.
248. Okay, we got 8 more minutes.
We could. Yeah, I'm feeling oddly vindicated about this. But have you been in I guess you've probably have either of you been in like an emotionally non-monogamous relationship before?
Oh yeah, emotionally, yeah. It wasn't necessarily an honest one. I didn't,
Right.
But it was. I think ultimately you need other people's perspectives. Emotionally, doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. Right. But there's certain people that I connected with and I wanted to talk to, and I could be a lot more open than I could be in other relationships. And I didn't want to give that up. And it's more of a friendship than a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
But and if it crosses the line once in a while and gets a little romantic, is that a bad thing?
I don't know what the line would be. The line would maybe be what most people think is like intercourse, sleeping with somebody, maybe.
Yeah.
But
it's usually the big line for people.
How about kissing?
So emotionally attached to.
I want more people to kiss. To be honest, I don't even want more people to sleep with. I like kissing and cuddling.
Cuddling should cuddling be a monogamous activity?
Hell no. That was the one thing. Even when I was like really monogamous, I was like, We were free to cuddle with other people, right?
But when I say cuddle,
That was a thing.
when I say cuddle, can it be like a sexualized cuddling?
Not when I was not monogamous. Not when I was a monogamous. Now, yeah. In the
could
place
be.
I am now, yeah.
You could have sexualized cuddling.
Yeah.
With a,
Like feeling under your shirt kind of thing. And
What?
things like that.
Andrew.
Let's get a little steamy in here.
Let's not go. We don't need to go into all this detail.
We got
Maybe we should end it. Okay, let's just end it now. Should we end it now?
I made Crunchy uncomfortable now. Oh, the tables have turned.
Well, I got.
This is a very amazing conversation. I thank you guys for.
242.
Thank you. We can do 42, 42.
2422.
Well, I thank you guys. I thank you guys for that.